Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Nutmeg Curling Club. My name is Britt, and it is time for the 9 o'clock draw for the Sunday of the Blazing Leaves. Let me set up the matches for you. Right now, we are going to show you the 4th and 5th event finals. Over on sheet A, we have Jack Miller's team versus John Carelli's team. Two nutmeg rinks primarily. Over on sheet C, we have Flanders versus Bertonica. Unfortunately, Matt Bertonica could not stay for the finals today. Something pulled him back to home base. So we have Giuseppe Russo stepping in as his skip today. So good to see Matt, though. Matt, thank you for joining us this weekend. It was very nice to see you. We hope to see you again very soon. So we have both those matches getting ready to start off. You see the near houses that they're taking their practice slides. Just a quick reminder, we'll also have the finals of the other three events, first, second, and third, at noon today. All right, so it looks like we're about to get underway here. We will switch for the moment to the 6 view. Now, we did adjust our views, and there was some camera issues last night with this, but they got it fixed. The sheet always on your left is always A. The sheet on your right is always C. So now they line up in this view. So we'll start out here, and then we'll go to the 3-sheet view once we have some rocks in play. We have our first rock on its way over on C. Okay, folks, sorry about that. I was just trying to make sure the stream was steady. Busy place on a Sunday morning, so the internet just has to kind of cooperate with us a little bit this morning. But it looks like we are up and running. Let's see what we've got. Let's go to the far houses really quick. So far, Carelli already has 1 stone in, but that might not last long because here comes a takeout attempt. Oh, sorry, that's Miller's stone. And it will chip it but not push it out. Meanwhile, over on sheet C, we have a whole bunch of guards. I do not believe that guy out front is biting. He is not. So there are 4 guards in play right now over on C. Again, just a reminder for folks who are not regular curlers or who are just tuning in for the stream for the first time this year, there is a new 5 free guard rock rule. You can't take out any stones in front of the house until 5 stones have come to rest. So what you're seeing over here on C with the 4 and now the 5th being delivered, he could not have removed any of those guards if he wanted to. He has to let that 5th stone come to rest. Over on A, Miller is going to, I think he was looking for a guard that came a little deeper. So not a bad result there, but John Carelli is going to try for a double here. So right now on C, we have a bit of a minefield out in front of the house, and over on A, we're playing in the 4-foot already. Let's see what happens here with Carelli's takeout attempt. Brian Tully delivering the stone for Carelli's team. His accuracy is very high. So I think he's going to hit something here, even with it being first end. And lo and behold, he nails the front one, and he gets at least the one. So in a shocking move on sheet C, another guard has gone up. So we now have 6 stones in play, all of them in front of the house. The Bertonica rink is also playing with a sub at second. Julie, I understand, is unable to be here today. Sorry to miss you, Julie. Always a pleasure to have you out here on the ice with us. And Kitty Stone is also a guard. So we have a total of 7 rocks delivered on C, all of them in the free guard zone. But it's after the 5th rock, so it really doesn't matter that they're in the zone. It's just interesting that we haven't been able to get to the house just yet. Shot from yellow, which is Miller's squad, goes a little bit heavy. I think he might have been shooting for that red there. He actually ends up hitting his own yellow and rolling over, so at the moment, red is shot. I'd love to tell you who shot on C, except nobody's in the house yet. And if I get quiet, it's just because I'm sipping my coffee. It's early on a Sunday morning for me. To that end, we are always willing to take comments and requests through our chat window on the YouTube page. Please feel free to say hello to somebody. If there's anyone you'd like to talk about or a question you'd like to ask, please, by all means, let us know. I see some other brave soul is up and awake this morning. Thank you for joining us. Happy to have you aboard. So here comes a red stone over on sheet C, and it is going to be short again. So we have, my goodness, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 red and 3 yellow stones in front of the house. Every stone except 1 yellow is out in front of the house right now as we're going into Vice Rocks. So they have had enough of this, and they are going to start to peel. Can't blame them. Meanwhile, over here on sheet A, Jack Miller attempting to get at that red stone again. And unfortunately, he'll hit the guard, but he's opened it up quite a bit. And he leaves himself a yellow stone right out in front of the house for him to work with on his stones if he so desires. So that's not a bad shot at all. John Carelli does not like his stone being open like that, though, so it looks like he's going to try and put up a guard. Stone out of play over on C, so we still have nothing in the house to report there just yet. Shot is away over here on C for Russo and Russo's Bertonica rink. This one looks like it's got good weight. The sweepers are on it. First end might be a little frosty out there. That one comes up a little short, but it'll definitely warm up as the morning goes on. Over on sheet A, I didn't see the shot, but he did not get what he wanted out of it, and so Jack Miller's going to have an opportunity to try and hit this redstone. Craig Steffen delivers the stone, and he's got plenty of weight. It's all about line. Difficult to see from this angle, but the sweepers are up on it. He hits and sticks, which is not bad. A hit and roll there would have been gorgeous with the guards out front, but the important part was to get that red out, and Craig did that very well. So we are now up to skip rocks over here on sheet C. Let me show you what this looks like. It is just a lot of action. Now there is a path right there where they're marking with their broom. There is a pathway through all those guards to the house. And I'm sitting right behind it, and it looks gigantic from where I'm sitting. It looks like you could easily get through there. I think the key is getting through there and getting the weight just right to make sure you can get in. Yellow has the hammer on C, so if Giuseppe comes up short and ends up blocking that port, it's not the end of the world for him, but this is set up nicely if he can make a couple of nice draws here to potentially steal, so he definitely wants to get into the house. I'm going to go back to the 3-sheet view, though, because we're apparently trading stones now over here on the left-hand side. Team Carelli took out the stone that Craig Steffen left and left a stone for Craig to shoot at. So now Craig is shooting at that one, and this one he will hit, and he will almost double out. He will impact the back one, and it will roll to the back 12, leaving a biter, and that will leave yellow as the one shot right now over on the right-hand side in the 8-foot, and that is somewhat undercover. That's not totally undercover, but it's also not easy to see. So that is a really nice outcome because he is now sitting shot as we get to the skip rocks. While I was watching all that action over on A, I missed Giuseppe's shot, but the port is still there, so whatever happened did not impact the port, and there's no stone in the house. So we are now getting to the first shot here for Jay Flanders, and we'll see if he can put this one in. Meanwhile, it looks like Carelli is going to try a draw because with those stones all moved around, there is a wide open space over there. The tale of two houses over here right now. Jay Flanders' shot is underway. It looks from my perspective to be a little bit light, but let's see what happens. They're just walking with it. Now they're starting to sweep. Oh, that's not light at all. What am I talking about? And it's not going to get through the port, but it's going to nudge the yellow that was right out front. And as soon as the players get out of the way, you'll be able to see that he is definitely promoted into the rings. And he might actually have two. I think it's one, but it might be two. Meanwhile, here's Carelli's shot. And it's a little heavier than he wanted, so he'll just trade stones in the back 12. So now we're up to Jack Miller's first shot. And again, that side is very open for a draw. He also has that yellow right in front of the house that's right behind where his vice is standing. He could also chip him in. He's got some options here. Your options are a little bit more limited over on sheet C because of the number of guards in play, but Giuseppe sees something he likes. I'm not quite sure. I think he's going to try and curl in between those two yellow stones. Let's go to that view. It looks a lot wider from where I'm sitting than it does on the overhead, but I believe he thinks he's going to get in between those two stones closest to the house and be able to draw in. It's got really good weight. It's got a curl, though. It is on that outside yellow at the moment, and I don't think it's going to come back as much as he wanted it to, and instead he is going to trade stones. So he removes the yellow stone that might have been a biter, leaving one yellow and a very narrow pathway to the house. I think that's what you gotta. Well, you know, he just needs any ring. Jay Flanders just needs to get anywhere in the house. So they're looking at the outside. They could potentially angle that guy in. They could try to go around it. And if they went around it, all they need is a touch of paint. So we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, here comes Jack Miller's first stone, and it is going to go in and take out that red, and that is a gorgeous shot that, while it still leaves the button accessible, leaves him with 3 yellow stones all counting simultaneously. So that is gorgeous. We're going to be joined momentarily by our club president, Craig Doucette, who did a fantastic job streaming himself yesterday.
For 2 ends.
Hey, it was 2 ends of glory.
Yeah, I had to joke with Robert. He made a fantastic shot in the third end, and I had to gush about it. So he got a kick out of it.
See, I'm getting it again. Your broadcast voice is totally different than your voice is normal. Like, I turned on the stream yesterday, I was like, who is that on the stream? It's Craig. And just now he puts on the headset, and he sounds completely different to me.
Well, that's by design. You know, I can't be recognized in public, so.
And you can't tell that joke while I'm trying to drink coffee. All right. Looks like they ended up with one yellow over here on sheet C.
Carelli stone is on the way.
And Carelli looks like he's just going for a straight up draw. I mean, he can tuck in there nicely.
He might be narrow. It might be on his own.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, it curled a lot on him. I don't think that thing took off.
Well, his first shot, he threw a little bit heavy, so I'm not surprised that taking a little bit off of it, the curl would take off on him a little bit. So he's first and nice. He's got to figure out how the ice is breaking today. But that leaves Jack Miller with an opportunity to take 4 here with the hammer. All he needs is a touch of paint. So we'll see what he does here. He's just going to go outside there and just kind of draw in. Very little harm he can do with a shot like this.
Yeah, you definitely want to do what you can to avoid that red that's sitting in front of the house there.
That's the one
thing. An accidental tap up would be, but I think he's given himself plenty of room to not have that worry. This is lead Tom from Ardsley joining the Nutmeg Bedford Ardsley squad here that is in playing on sheet C.
Oh, nice. Jack Miller's stone is underway. It looks like it's got good weight. But they are going a little further outside than they have so far this morning, so sweepers are making sure it gets there.
Nice corner guard by Tom.
Get into that paint.
Jack got it.
There it is. So that's going to be 4 for Jack. Nice start to his morning. Meanwhile, we switch to the near houses. Just a reminder, we did correct the camera angles. A is always on your left. C is always on your right.
You need to remirror A.
Why?
It's backwards. Door. The hallway.
Yeah, no, that's intentional. Okay. Here's the left side of the screen. I know, it throws me off.
Alrighty.
All right, so
confusion in the booth.
Well, we played with this because one of the feedback that Ed got was, I never know in a match when it's A and C, when you switch from one side to the other, which is which. Now A is always going to appear on the left-hand side of your screen, and C will always be on your right.
Okay.
It throws me off, too. So sheet C is a few rocks ahead, so let me show you what's going on here on near C. So as opposed to the last end where we had a ton of rocks out in front of the house, now we have 2 in right away.
Couple nice shots by Tom there. Lead for this is the first event of the year that Nutmeg is using the 5 rock rule, free guard zone rule. So I'm not I haven't really talked to the skips, but I'd kind of like to find out how it's been going.
Yeah.
Whether or not they think it's been good, if it's been challenging. I played last night as skip, but I didn't really get a chance to call it much, which is fine because I probably would have forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, look at this nice.
That's a nice little split, yeah.
Let's go to that really quick. There you go. You see that split into the house, and also opens it up. It's going to force the Giuseppe to put up a guard. Yeah, I haven't really seen it come into play yet this weekend. We talked about it a lot on Friday night, but I haven't seen it come into play. I like the idea behind it, in that you can't eliminate corner guards right away. But we'll see how it works out.
This shot from Kitty is gonna, if they can hold that line, they might get a nice little hit and roll off to the guard that they're looking for. There you go. It's gonna stick around, but that's.
Well, the yellow sticks on the outside, but
yeah, I mean,
all those stones in play,
I mean, I know there's takeouts here, but think Giuseppe's pleased with 3 and 3 counting at this point.
Yeah. Meanwhile, here comes a takeout attempt over on A. And click, click, we have 1 red in the house. Meanwhile, we have the takeout underway here on C. Got good weight. The only question is how many stones it hits at this point. It's got a good line.
Looks like it'll get that, and that tucks under there a little. That's going to be tough to remove, so.
That is, yeah. That's a nice little result. And the angle of that's really good, that if he decides he wants to shoot at that front red, he can try to hit on that side and leave his yellow undisturbed. Still difficult, but...
That's a tough shot, yeah.
Shocking call over on sheet A. Jack Miller calls for a takeout. This match has been basically
Morning, Stephanie.
back and forth.
Good.
Takeouts the entire time so far. And Jack does manage. Nice shot there by Jack to get that yellow chipped out. Sorry about that. I had a mic issue there for a second. You probably heard a lot of reverb when I was talking. So wow, good shot for Jack. I thought that was going to be very difficult to chip out of there. I'm sorry, not Jack. For Giuseppe, I thought that was going to be very difficult to chip out, and got it out masterfully. So now, I did not see what happened on sheet A, but the takeout was not completed, and now Carelli is an opportunity to split the house. So that is what he is going to do, because giving up 4 early, he really wants to score at least 2 or 3 here if he can. So he's going to try and set up for a bigger end. Meanwhile, over here back on sheet C, another takeout attempt in progress. And they will take out that second red. And, or sorry, that was the 1 stone red. I'd have to guess, looking at it, that yellow is shot right now. And Giuseppe obviously thinks so, because he's going to have Pam go right after it. Meanwhile, over here on sheet A, Jack Miller is calling for a takeout. As you can see, the split the house was successful, and there are 2 stones right out front. Go back to C really quick, because here comes the takeout attempt from Pam. And it's actually going to be just a little too late. It's actually going to promote it in. So, meanwhile, over on sheet A, the takeout is successful. So let's take a look at near sheet A. And it's just the 1 red stone in, but again, John Carelli in a position where he can potentially set up a multi-score end right now with the way these rocks are set up. Over here on sheet C, a little bit more complex. We've got the 1 yellow. It's directly behind some reds. So Flanders is going to call for a draw. Let me show you what that's looking like from overhead. Draw's coming in. I think it might be hot. Needs to dig in. Oh, it does not dig in. So, unfortunately, that's leaving an opportunity. So Giuseppe's going to try and move some stones around here. I think he's actually calling for like a... He wants to hit this red straight back, I think, into the yellow. And either split the house or potentially open it up a little bit. All depends. Pam comes with a little bit more weight than the last one, so we'll see how this hits and sticks. This might end up being just a simple promote, which would still be good if it moves that yellow out of their way. And it does move the yellow back and moves the red into a definitive second stone position, but it's not the takeout that result that he had hoped for in that particular circumstance. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, red attempts to take out the yellow and does not succeed. I'm sorry, yellow. I don't know what yellow was trying to do. Yellow must have been trying to draw there and actually went through a little bit. It was a little heavier than they had hoped for. So now Team Carelli will try to take out that yellow and stick around, which would set him up again with his 2 reds. Interesting situation developing over here on sheet C as Craig rejoins us. I'm not quite sure what he's going to do here.
Is he guarding maybe? Because that's a pretty straight run for Giuseppe. So
It
maybe he's
is.
trying to guard that run back?
I'm guessing? A lot of red out front for him to use.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Jack Miller's going to go after that red stone in front. Carelli's hit was successful, and Jack wants to prevent him from trying to get two here. Craig Steffen delivers. The yellow stone is also on its way over here on sheet C.
Yeah, that might
And
make
it
him
doesn't
dry
look
out
like
quickly.
guard weight. Got to curl a little bit for him to get the line they would like, and it's doing so.
Craig makes the hit.
Craig makes the hit, so but there's only one red stone in the house, so Carelli is still in a situation to draw. The guard over on C ends up being a high guard, but the position isn't very bad for them. I like it. Giuseppe still thinks he can get in there, though, and that's what he's calling for.
Oh, yeah. That line's there.
Okay.
Looking at it from this angle, he can see all of it. But, not knowing the ice, if it sometimes, if you're a hair down, it'll take off on you. So I think he's going to. This is Giuseppe's first time on the ice this year, aside from the 2 scrapes he's done.
Yes, he's done more ice crew work than curling so far this year.
Yes.
So thank you to him and all the ice crew this week. It was, I know on Friday there was a little bit of concern about the ice, but it's just been fantastic yesterday and today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always the trouble with a early season bonspiel when it's 80 degrees out.
Well, that's the thing. It's been very humid here in Connecticut to boot. So
So this is coming. See, now when it starts to move, it looks like he's got it. He's got to curl a little bit more. Nice shot.
Look at that. And that leaves him, I think, counting 4.
And he lost his gripper. And what is that on the bottom of his shoe?
I have no idea.
Never seen that before.
Meanwhile, let's take a look over near sheet A. And Jack is going to go after that red stone. This is Jack's first stone of the end. Again, trying to eliminate stones as much as possible. With a 4-0 lead, he's just trying to cut down and make sure that Carelli only has a shot for 1 if he can. And he does so. Very nice shot by Jack. His stone is exposed, but at the same time, it wasn't really, the idea was to get the red out. So once again, just to go back to that, kudos to the ice crew. Fantastic job all weekend long. They did a fantastic job getting this ice in and ready to play in the last month or so. And just this entire weekend, they have been on top of every little minute issue that could possibly arise. And I've had nothing but good comments about the quality of the ice. Oh, incoming here on C. Click, click, but only one goes out. So that cuts the count on C to 1 red, as Giuseppe now will have a shot with his hammer. I'm curious what he does here. If he can manage to get that yellow stone that's biting the 8-foot out of the way without wrecking his own red and sticks around in a counting position, that would be a certain 3, possibly 4. And that would be big. I think that's what he's going to try and do. But we're going to go back to near A for a second because Carelli is throwing a takeout here against Jack Miller's yellow. And it's just going to skinny by the yellow and not be able to hit. And they each have 1 more rock. This gives Jack an opportunity to really kind of bury something and deny him the 2 that he's really looking for. I'm really interested over here on sheet C with this call by Giuseppe. It looks like he's going to try and send the yellow off to the left, which is the bottom part of your screen, and the shot is underway and is heavy. It's starting to curl. I don't know that it's going to curl enough to get where he wants it to go. And it's not. And unfortunately, what it's going to do is hit his shooter. And that's going to go out and leave one yellow. Ooh, an aggressive call by Giuseppe doesn't pay off. But, you know, I'll risk giving up one to take four any time of the week. And that only leaves him down 2-0. So it's not like it was a bad call. I really like the aggressive call there. And that's a shot Giuseppe I've seen him make multiple times. So I like that a great deal. Let's go over back to sheet A because they're cleaning up over on sheet C. Right now, yellow and Flanders leads 2-0 in that match. But over here on sheet A, we have Jack Miller's last shot about to be delivered. And it looks like he's going to try and come right down up against that yellow so that it's not going to factor into the count. Sweepers are on it. This might be a takeout. He might just be trying to get that stone out of play. It looks a little heavy for a sit. And it does, in fact, hit that red out. So John Carelli really pretty much just has a draw for one. He can't afford to, well, all right, he's going to try and hit and stick on that yellow. So, and that's not unlike John. John likes the hit. He's much more comfortable with the hit. I'm, you know, it's after my own heart. If I have a choice between a hit and a draw, I will take a hit every time if its result's going to be the same because I just have more faith in my hit weight than I do my draw weight. So if John hits and sticks here, he will take his one, but he risks giving up 2 yellow to Jack, and that would increase the lead to 6. So he definitely wants to make sure this is an important shot for him, even though it's only the second end. Their shot is underway. It has got plenty of weight, but they are scrubbing it something fierce. I think they're just trying to hold it straight to make sure that it hits and sticks. It's going to get the hit, and it's going to roll a little bit, and it's going to be the one shot. So that's one red over there on sheet A. That will cut Jack Miller's lead to 4-1 after 2. We will switch now to the far houses, where the third end is underway over on sheet C. And as you can see, there's a... What do we got? I can't see because the skip is actually playing a match and standing in my vision. There we go. We have a yellow sitting in the back 8 so far. We are still on lead rocks. So this is only the third rock getting ready to be delivered overall. The yellow leads second rock. So we'll go back to the 3-camera zoom because this is going to show us sheet A as well. So again, these are the 4th and 5th event finals. We have the 5th event happening over here on sheet C, the 4th event over on sheet A. For those of you who are going to be around later, we will have the finals of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd events at noon. The first event will be Green versus Kwan. The second event will be Simia versus Hull. And the third event will be Brundage versus Shiner. And these are all fantastic matchups, but I am really interested in seeing Brundage versus Shiner. Both really good, really skilled teams. The Brundage team, all juniors who came up roughly the same time and have played together. And you know, Matt Shiner's got a fantastic rink himself and played a lot of good games this weekend. So I'm really curious. That third event final is really very appealing to me. But we'll call all 3 games, obviously. So we got a redstone over here in C in the 4-foot. And over on A, looks like it was a draw attempt, and it's just going to go a little long. Want to thank everybody who is tuning into the stream so far this morning. As always, if you have any questions or any comments, please let us know in our chat stream. I will check that periodically. Craig Steffen let me know earlier today that we may have some viewers from the great state of Oklahoma. Some of his family out there may be tuning in to join us, so we hope you are, and hope you're enjoying watching Craig play. He is in a bright orange sweater. I think it's a sweater over on sheet A. If you're sometimes on the wide view, it can be hard to pick out who's who, but the professor is wearing the orange sweater today. Meanwhile, over on sheet C, The yellow takeout into the red forces a jam, and the red is sticking around. So here's what that looks like. We have instant replay now, but I'm not up to speed with it yet. As soon as I'm up to speed with it, I'll be able to show you shots like that again. But red has found itself in a position where they are probably looking for a guard right now. While I'm issuing thank yous, and we're still setting up ends on this end, a huge thank you to our Warm Room Committee, who did a fantastic job this weekend. A massive thank you to Lee Cockey and Mike Hope, who led the barbecue effort. I had to work last night. I missed the barbecue. Oh, here comes that red stone. It's going to kind of nick it and then roll over, so they're going to have 2 counters in the back of the house. I missed the barbecue last night, but the word on the street is that there is leftover brisket, and that's all I'm looking for right now. So I'm looking forward to lunch today. But a huge thank you. That is a massive undertaking in this club because of the amount of time that it requires for the brisket and the smoked meats to cook. They literally sleep here Friday night into Saturday in order to make that happen. So we really do appreciate that. All right, so far I'm looking over at sheet A. We've still got the 2 red in the house counting. Over here on sheet C, we have a yellow that's going to nudge one of the reds back and out of the house. I think it's still on the back line, but I don't think it's in the house. And as a result, red is counting right now with a whole bunch of just action back in that corner. Taking the opportunity to munch on some cheese. Over here on sheet A, Miller is trying to get the back red out of play. I think he might have been just trying to skiddy around that guard and get the front red, but that's really tight. So he took advantage of the fact that he could see most of the back red and get that guy out. Unfortunately, the shooter does not stick around, so he does not get to use that. Oh, who took my cheese away? Who moved my cheese? I thought maybe the War Room Committee had finally figured out you can't leave cheese out around Brit. One of the nice things about the Bonspiels at Nutmeg, no matter which Bonspiel it is, Blazing Leaves in particular, because of the fantastic barbecue that Mike and Lee do, but there's always a great amount of food and some great food to boot. So let's reset over here on C. I want to just show you, this is what the house actually looks like up close. There's a lot of action in the back. The red is clearly counting, but if that red were to no longer be in play, then you would have probably 2 yellow. So Giuseppe is going to try and make sure that that red is not his 1 stone, and he's going to draw in behind his guard. Meanwhile, over here on sheet A, Jack Miller is asking Patrick to try and open things up a little bit. Pick out weight underway. And he successfully removes that guard and leaves a guard of his own off to the side. So Carelli has a decision to make here. His guard has vanished. He needs to do something. He's just going to put the guard back. I think that's a great call. That guard is crucial right now to what he's trying to set up. And he is set up in such a way that if he can guard that front stone effectively, he can set up a 2 or 3 point end. Meanwhile, over here on sheet C, Giuseppe's stone did not make it into the house, but is a nice guard, making it difficult to get to his back stone, which is also a great outcome. So Flanders is going to just try and draw around the red stone. I'm sorry, the red stone, yep. And back into scoring position. I'll go overhead for that. That's just not coming back as much as he wanted to. Hey, Craig's back.
Virgil Brigman back in the air. If Ed's watching, he'll get that.
Okay, good, because I did.
No, it's
But the shot does not come back as much as he wants and sits in the outer 12, and as a result, it's still one red. So Giuseppe is going to, again, try to draw in and set himself up for two.
that might be hard.
Yeah,
Actually,
shot is underway.
it's coming down.
It just looks like it might be a little heavy.
Yeah.
Might slow down for...
I'm gonna take a walk over to sheet A. See how we're looking over here.
Well, it looks like Jack is finally going to get a shot at that front stone.
He got it.
Hits it.
Any double? Jam. Nope. But he got the one.
So switching over to the wide zoom so you can see over there, you see the red stone that was in the top 12 is now gone. And the back red is sitting there, so it's still a count of one red.
John going for the draw here. It's good. He needs to get stones in.
Absolutely.
So the hit is not the call. I like this. Sees a chance to get some points here at a steal.
Meanwhile, over on sheet C, the race to the button continues as we get to skip rocks. And Jay Flanders for stone. Slows down, it's going to be nice.
The warm room crew is hard at work getting our rest of the food out.
Unfortunately, Jay's stone just clears the back line. So it looks like, what happened with the draw over there at sheet A?
I don't know. He drew down. It drew down to the one in the back, so it was sitting
I
two
see
in the
it.
back. Yeah, it's,
So Jack's going to take a shot at that.
yeah. He's trying to come over and maybe double clip him out, but Craig kicked off the guard in front. So I assume Carelli's going to try to put a guard up center line there.
I would
Yeah.
guess.
That would probably be the
I would love to get a biting guard here.
yeah.
Maybe set
Put the
yourself up
pressure
for
on.
the end.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a steal, so but can put the pressure on Jack. So,
Right.
but I think John is starting to see a way back into this game after that first end. So this is
Absolutely.
good.
Over here on C, Giuseppe Russo is throwing his first stone.
Weight looks pretty good.
This weight looks like it's pretty good. I mean, the last couple guys have just come a little bit too heavy. The line has been really solid. It's starting to curl. See if they can get it to the house.
They're all on it. They're all on it.
Oh, it comes up just short. No, wait.
We'll get a bite. Nope.
Just short. And Giuseppe obviously took a little bit off that after watching 2 or 3 stones sail through. He wanted to make sure he wasn't heavy. And that's a stone he can use. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, on the left-hand side of your screen, John Carelli is getting ready to deliver his first stone. And I do believe he's going to try and put a guard up in the 12-foot.
Carelli's stone is on the way. Line looks pretty good. Just needs to bend. Needs to bend.
Needs a little leg to it, slowing down on him.
That's gonna work out okay, I think. It leaves a gap, but it could cause trouble depending on if those hits hang. So, Jack's obviously going for it here. The port is there.
I don't prevent Jack from being wide at all. If Jack is the least bit wide, he is not going to be able to get there.
Yeah, that's the thing. They tend to fall if you get it outside that 4 foot.
So while it's not perfectly in line where he wanted it, it's still going to be very useful.
And there is a jam situation, so the double's tough, but it's... Southampton and Chelsea still 0-0 in the first half.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what that is. Oh yeah, man, there's all of it. I can't do it.
Shot underway over here on C. Flanders is throwing a screaming takeout. and just comes out wide, did not come back as much as he wants to, and ends up taking out his own back yellow. So with the hammer coming up, Giuseppe is sitting 1, and I kind of like the split to try and get 3 out front, or just a straight up draw for 2. Jack shot's underway. How's it look?
He got it. I don't know if he got the double. Yeah. So he didn't get the double, but he did get the 1, and he is sitting shot now. And he's sitting shot pretty well buried.
Ooh. You're going to make me get up and walk down there. You're enticing me to come have a closer look and to grab another piece of cheese.
Chew Road stickers. Yeah, like, it was a nice roll. Didn't get the double, but got the nice roll. So
There's somebody I forgot to send a thank you to. Was Two Roads. We thank the ice crew. We thank the meat crew. We thank the warm room. Thank you to Two Roads for coming down Friday night and doing a tasting with us.
yeah, it was great. They brought that espresso stuff.
That
was good.
Keep you up on an evening.
Yeah, I had not had that one before. That was good
You
beer.
not had their coffee stout? It's good.
No,
There's one
I mean it's Igor's dream or nothing for me when it comes to the stouts from that place. So
Wow.
that's good.
That's
But-
good stuff.
But it's only like a 3-week window when you can get it. So
Yes. Oh, that's one of the beers that people will line up outside to get.
yeah.
I don't line up to buy beer. No. All right, so let's see what Curly's going to do. What is this call? Is he going to try? Is he running back?
No, I think he's trying to draw.
Trying to draw for 1?
No, he doesn't have hammer. Jack has hammer.
Oh, Jack has hammer.
So I think he's trying to draw in and put himself in shot so Jack can only get 1.
Makes sense.
Because if he sits on his own, freezes there, it'll force Jack to 1.
And I apologize while we're down here. I missed the outcome over on C, but I see they put up the 3 under 1, so
1 red.
1 red. So that makes that game 2-1.
This actually might be the tap.
I kind of like the tap here.
Nah, it's
Oh, he's... Oh,
all right.
I think he's just got to draw down to that and take 2.
So yeah, so now Jack. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Jack can just draw down, use it as backing, and sit there.
Yeah, so Jack will try to get 2 here, and that would increase his lead. We'll see how this pans out, though. Stop eating the cheese. All right, so Stone's coming, watching Jack Miller's hammer over here on sheet A. Over here on sheet C, we had Stone come into the house and a nice takeout, and the house is empty again. You can't see that at the moment because I'm focused in on the tri-sheet view so that you can see Jack's final shot. He just needs this to outcount the red. And he's going to use that red for backing, I reckon. Knock it back and sit 2. So the score over there is going to be 6-1 in favor of Jack Miller. A lot of curling left to go. And let's be critically honest for a second. John Carelli's team has had opportunities on A to really build ends. Things just haven't bounced their way. So this is by no means over. Carelli has had opportunities to score 2 or 3 in an end. So I think that, with the hammer here, he could very easily pull himself right back into this game. I mean, 6-1 sounds like a big margin, but after 3 ends with 5 to play and the way that they've been playing, it is not. I could very easily see Carelli putting together a big end to pull themselves right into this match. So what you're seeing now, again, is the near houses. Again, A, B, C from left to right on your screen. That's a change that we made this year, so that left sheet is always A and the right sheet is always C. And you see a nice draw from the Flanders squad. So just getting started in the fourth end over on A. Couple stones in over here on C. We're to second rocks already. And we've got some stones laying around, including a yellow. Here comes a shot from the second. I believe that's Kitty. And she's subbing in for Julie. And it looks like it curled a little bit more than they expected it to. So they're trying to plan B it into the outer 12 over in the corner. And it's just not going to quite get there. Sometimes you have a great plan out on the ice and the rock itself or the ice or the curler just doesn't turn out exactly the way you planned it. But that's why you play the games. If every shot was exactly how you planned it, there'd be no interest to the game. Over on sheet C, we have our first red rock of the end coming into play, and it's going to tuck right into the 8-foot. So looks like Miller and Carelli are into the interior dueling. They did a lot of hit in their first couple ends, and it looks like they're keeping up that kind of momentum now. Over on sheet C, it looks like they're going to be able to split the house here. They sure did. Look at that. So just to give you a quick view up on what just happened on near C, the yellow that's on the bottom of your screen was sitting up in the front 12-foot, 8-foot range, and the yellow came and they split the house. So that's a nice result for them. Back to the full view because we've got some action on both sheets right now. Got the stones in the house on both sheets early on. Here comes the second stone. This time they come to the other side. And again, it curls way out onto the edge. Meanwhile, let's go to near A for a second because we have a stone coming into play right now. And it looks like it is a hit, and it's going to roll just a little bit off behind the angle there. This leaves Jack with an interesting decision. He could try for two, and it looks like he's definitely going to call takeout and see if he can at least get one of these guys out of play, and maybe two. Oh, we have a curler down on C. Okay, so we're going to take a pause in the action over on C as we've just had a curler with a little slip up. Meanwhile, over here on A, see what happens here. Jack is going to attempt to go for those two reds. We just have a brief delay just because we want to make sure everybody's okay. Okay, so the shot from Patrick on sheet A is underway. It looks like it's got plenty of weight. Sweepers are on it immediately. Then they're off. Then they're on. And gets by the guard and hits one out, is going to skinny the other one into the outer 12. So at least they got the one out, and they've moved rocks in such a way that yellow is now sitting. And again, John Carelli has a nice setup, and then a really nice shot by yellow forces him to rethink things. Now, by no means is he out of this end with what just happened. He just needs to kind of get that yellow out, and then he can still set up for a big end. So let's go back to the wide angle. Play has resumed over on sheet C as well. And this shot is going to impact the guard. Can they get this guy into the house? It's spinning, and it is a biter out on the outer 12. Nice shot over on sheet C. So that's what that's the result of that shot right there. So we still got 2 yellow as the count over there. This is what you're looking at right now. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, John Carelli successfully removes the. Or did he not? Yes, he successfully removes the yellow, but the red remains in play, and now Jack Miller will shoot at that red. Sheet A has really been a very much a takeout-oriented game. It's been a move, counter-move kind of game where Sheet C has really been much more about positioning. So 2 very different styles of play right now just evolving. And I think that's basically just because of the way that the different stones have come into play. So the red attempt on the yellow, or I'm sorry, I just missed that shot. So all right, so what we've got is we've got 1 yellow sitting over on sheet A. Sorry, trying to get caught up here. And John Carelli is going to try and shoulder down to it. That's a lot of ice for a takeout, so I think he's going to try and shoulder into it, which is the smart move at this point. If Jack is relying a lot on taking out his stones, then try to put something that's going to count in a position where it can't be removed. Over on sheet C, that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a lot of action out in front of the house with red. There's 2 yellows in the house at the moment. I'm going to stay with this view just because the Carelli rock is coming into view. I want to see if this is going to curl over enough for him to stick around. Jack Miller gets into position and starts to sweep. And this stone's going to go right out the back, unfortunately. Let's take a quick look at the setup over here on C. Yellow Vice Rock is about to come into play. He's just delivering it now. And it looks like it's... Oh yes, it's definitely a guard. He's definitely guarding. He does have hammer here, but with all that stuff out front and already sitting 2, he does not want to take any chances. But this looks like it's going to go a little longer than he wanted to. And there's a chance to bury and be sitting 3. And they successfully do so. So they wanted the guard there, but that is not a bad outcome at all. And now as we get to Giuseppe's skip rocks, he's got to make a decision as to how he's going to get in there and prevent a big end. So far, both these teams have done a fantastic job with their defensive curling to make sure that neither team can take out, score more than 1. So that's nice. Let's update you over here on what's going on sheet A, near A over here. We've got 2 yellow in play. So John Carelli is, I believe, trying to... I don't know if he's trying to draw behind. He tapped in front of that yellow, but I don't know why he would be doing that. I actually wouldn't mind like a hit and roll here, but that's not the call. So we'll see what the call is. So the scrubbing, they're coming into view now. And it's a little lighter than he wanted, so it's going to end up out there. We are going to zoom back to C because the redstone is coming into view right now. This is Giuseppe's first rock. And unfortunately, it's going to end up being another guard for him. I believe he was trying to get into the 8-foot and possibly right up against that yellow, but unfortunately, it just didn't get as far along as they wanted to. So with a lot of red rocks out in front of the house, Giuseppe does have options for his final stone. So yellow right now is trying to determine, how do I limit his options? And I think they're just going to try and put up a guard on that center line to make it more difficult for him to get into the house. Yellow does have the hammer, so this is his first shot. And, sitting 3, you really want to just protect what you have. been, like I said, a back and forth game of one. So put up a guard here, protect what you have, and take your points. What I would do. So here comes the last shot from Jay Flanders. Looks good. Needs to bend. Might be just a touch heavy from my perspective, but here it comes. It's starting to curl, starting to slow down. This might be a gorgeous shot. If it curls too much or runs too long, it might get in behind that red, and they might have a fourth counter, but it's actually going to stop right on the center line. Just off the center line to the right-hand side. It's blocking up that hole nicely. So Giuseppe now needs to make a decision on what he's going to do. Meanwhile, over here on sheet A, not a lot of changes. A couple guards thrown. So we are down to skip rocks. Are we down to hammer? Can't really see down there. I believe. No, this is first rock of the skip rocks, because I know red has hammer. So if Jack is getting ready to throw his first rock, then that means Carelli has not thrown a rock yet. So they're going to try and draw in, I think, and protect that side again. Let's take a look at what Giuseppe's going to do. And Giuseppe without the hammer here. Heavy weight. I didn't see what the call was, but it's curling. I think this is some sort of promote. It's heavier, but it's curling, which is what he wants. He needs this to curl a little bit. I think he is just trying to knock something into. And look at this. Look at the roll he gets off of the yellow. Red is going to roll right over into the 4-foot. And Giuseppe Russo is going to put yellow in a situation where they may be able to steal one against yellow. Wow. Fist pumps all around on Team Red. That was a fantastic shot by Giuseppe there. And now yellow is going to have a discussion as to how they're going to combat that fantastic shot. He literally hit his stone into his stone into the yellow on an angle to push the yellow into the 12-foot. But what you're looking at right now is sheet A, Jack Miller's first stone, as he is trying to curl in and behind. And it's not going to tuck in, but it is going to sit in a counting position. I like that stone's position from the point of view of John Carelli, because I can come down there. And if I can get in there, or he's going to try to curl in as well. But I mean, he's got backing, so what he can do is he can afford to be a little heavier. If he runs a little heavy and a little straight, he's got that yellow stone that Jack just put into play to kind of give him backing. Let's fly over to sheet C again. Here comes the Jay Flanders in the hack is getting ready to deliver his hammer, and it looks like he's going to try and say, anything you could do, I could do better, and push his yellow back into that red. If he can eliminate that red, he'd be sitting at least 3. Stone is underway. Sweepers are on it. Hits his own yellow, but the angle is not. Oh, look at this. Okay, that is not how they drew it up on paper, but man, did that work better in practice. It's still going to end up being 1 red, but for a second there, the yellow almost ricocheted off of a second yellow and pushed the red all the way out. Just didn't have enough momentum to push the red as far as possible, but it was a very interesting opportunity there. So it will be 1 red there, a steal for Giuseppe on his brilliant tap up, and now we have a 2-2 game over on C. Over on A, here comes the Carelli draw. As I mentioned, he had backing to work with, so when it ran a little long and a little straight, he ends up putting a stone in play. It's the second shot at the moment, but he still has hammer to go, so we have to see what he can do here. There's going to be some discussion between Skip Jack Miller and Vice Craig Steffen as to how to best approach this. Curious to see what they decide to do here. Meanwhile, the 5th end has begun over on C. The first lead rock is away. We're going to stick here with A for a minute just because we have the last skip rocks, and this is actually developing into an interesting end. It looks like Jack is going to try and draw down to the red stone put out there by Carelli, and if he sits on it, it would make it very difficult for Carelli to get to here. Carelli is not counting at the moment. I need to move towards that end of the ice to get a better view of the rock setup. I'm wondering if there's any way that Carelli can get at the shot rock. It looks pretty well covered, but he does have a red out there. He could run back if he really wanted to. Jack Miller's shot is underway, and it has got good weight. Sweepers are just walking with it for the moment. Scrubbing a little bit now. I think they want to make sure it gets there. They're both working on it now. Does not look like the line is where they want it, though, and that's the problem. So it's out there. It's in the front of the house, but I don't know that it factors too much into the count. Carelli is going to call for the draw and try to make sure he gets at least one here. He's down 5 at the moment, so he definitely wants to get points on the board. And with yellow counting 1 in this scenario, he does not want to risk it. Can't blame him there. He's talking to his sweepers down the far end of the ice about the shot call. I mean, he would love an opportunity to get rid of that yellow and get a shot at 2, but I don't know that it's really there. Let's show you what's going over on far C for a moment. This is the start of the other end. So two red rocks in play. One of the yellow rocks is already going out of play, and the lead is preparing to deliver her second stone. And it looks like they're going to call a draw here. Stone is away. Sweepers are on it. We're going to cut back to our friends over on sheet A in a moment. Here it comes. It's curling in, but it's unfortunately going to be just short. Over on sheet A, Carelli's hammer is on its way. I believe they decided to stay out there and go with the draw. Team Tully sweeping this stone, gets by the guard. Now, where does this guy end up? This looks like a nice button draw. Just a little deeper. Oh, it's a little long. It's going to be one more for yellow. So that is going to make the count 7-1 in favor of the Jack Miller rink as they finish through 4. So going into the 5th, halfway through the game, Carelli's got some work to do, but has the ability to do it. So here's your 3-sheet view, because A is going to be popping up in a second. You see a lot of red stones out in front at the moment. I did not see the very first stone of this end for yellow. The second one did hog, unfortunately, barely. And now it looks like yellow is going to try to peel. Can they here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, yes, this is the 6th stone. Okay. So, yeah. For a moment there, I thought the 5-guard zone was coming into play, but it's not. This is the 6th stone of the end, so he can now start to remove any stone he wishes. He might get both. What a lovely shot. It pushes one into the 12-foot, but it's way out there biting outside the edge of the 12-foot, so, and pretty much accomplishes it. The yellow is now sitting where the red was, so the red is still undercover, but at least now it's a yellow stone, and it's something you can push back. So that actually works out pretty well. Guard coming up on C. That's a nice shot too, because now that takes away makes it much more difficult for them to drive that yellow straight back. So we have almost like a straight line kind of set up on C. Let me show you what that looks like from overhead. As Charlie Mack used to say, the gun is not loaded in this situation. But look at that, straight line, straight back. My goodness, that's some good guard play right there. Jay Flanders doesn't appreciate the good guard play that I do, so he's got to take out that red rock. He's going to try and peel it. It looks like the line is good for a peel. It ran pretty straight, and that's what he wanted. And he does successfully peel out that red guard and leave the yellow in play. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, got a couple stones out in front of the house. It is 7-1. Just to reset the score, 7-1 over on A right now in favor of Jack Miller's squad. Red does have the hammer to work with this end. We have a tie game of 2-2 over here on sheet C with yellow bearing the hammer. Flanders throwing yellow. Giuseppe Russo is in for Matt Bertonica, and he is throwing red on sheet A. I mentioned yellow is Jack Miller, and red is John Carelli's rink. So there's your game reset. These are the 4th and 5th event finals. Just a reminder that we will have the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd event finals coming up right around noontime today. Looking forward to those. Those should be a lot of fun. Be some great matches in store there. Normally, you look at the 1st event final, you're like, ooh, here we go. Just because of the 2 teams that are involved now, I'm most of it interested in the 3rd event final personally, but they're all going to be great matches. I can't wait to be here for that. Over here on sheet C, it looks like yellow is going to try and really open it up, and they have successfully done so because Giuseppe put another rock into the 8-foot and was counting 3, but now it is wide open. I'm going to guess he needs to put up a guard. He sure is. He's going to call for a guard. Over on sheet A, we have Jack Miller delivering another stone. Nothing in the house as of yet. I think he is trying to just clog stuff up. We like to draw in. He's drawing in, obviously. But, I mean, he would love something right in the 8-foot under cover. And that's what he's going to get. That's a gorgeous shot. Who was that? That was Patrick. Great shot by Patrick there. I don't know if it's under full cover from my point of view, but it is definitely under cover. And it must be under full cover because John Carelli is going to sacrifice that guard so that he can open things up. Meanwhile, over on sheet C, Pam's guard is in play. It's covering about 90% of the front stone. The back stone is half visible, so they are going to take a shot at it. I'm sitting right behind that sheet, and I can see about half of the red stone. So I do believe it's accessible for them. Slides out, releases the stone. Looks nice and heavy. The weight's good. It's just about the line here because it is a tight line. He's got to get by not 1 but 2 guards. He gets by the first. He will not get by the second, but that's not a bad thing because that was one of the stones he needed to remove from play, and that's actually the harder of the 2 stones to reach. So that's a fantastic shot. With that stone out of the way, it is now a lot easier for them to see that red shot rock in the 4-foot. So Giuseppe is going to try and replace the guard that he lost in that nice shot. Who was that? That was, I believe that was Matt. Sorry, that was Matt. Made a very nice shot there. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, we've got a mess of stones out in front of the house. So John Carelli is going to take advantage of it. He used his previous shot to peel open his own guard, and now he has a nice path into the house. Looking to take a couple of points here and climb right back into this match. And you know that Jack Miller's got to be thinking that in the back of his head. He had a 6 spot in his first match of the week to get into a game that he was trailing in. So he's got to be sitting there thinking to himself, I've got to protect my lead. I cannot give up a big end here. So the shot from Brian Tully is underway. It is curling. It looks like it might redirect. It's going to off the guard, and that's tight enough for him to be able to do something with. That's a good promote stone there. Meanwhile, over on sheet C, the guard is successful. He's got a mid guard over right off of the hog line. So, I'm sorry, center line. So looking at it this way, you can see it lines up even better this way in terms of guarding his shot rock. Now, that doesn't mean Jay can't get to it. It just means Jay can't go straight at it. So Jay is lining up what looks like maybe a heavy draw kind of setup to try and just get in there and push it out. If he can do that and sit somewhere, he can probably be counting 2 at the moment. Not counting anything on C, we're still kind of trading stones out front. Here comes Craig Steffen's first stone of the 5th end. And he goes by and unfortunately through. So, resetting what we have here, Carelli is trying to get into the house. He is done working on trading stones out front. He's just going to go for an outside draw. It's a good call. I like that. The only issue is I don't think they've really been out that far on the ice. It's kind of hard to know what the weight is. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it comes up a little short. Jennifer couldn't possibly have known what the weight was out there. I don't think they've thrown out there at all yet. So that was a kind of, let's see if we can get this in. Meanwhile, over on sheet C, Jay's first shot does not connect with the red. That was his first stone. It's a tricky spot. That heavy draw is really difficult because you got to get enough curl to get to that red stone. You got to have enough weight to get it pushed out. And the combination of both is not easy. And it looks like Giuseppe is going to try to put a second rock in. Or potentially guard up what is there some more. I think a second rock in is not a terrible idea right now. Not a lot of ice for a draw, though, so maybe I'm wrong on the call. I'm looking over at sheet A. There still isn't anything in the house yet as we're getting to skip rocks. Reminiscent of the first end on C. Giuseppe's rock is underway. Actually, I think he is trying to take out that yellow. I had the handle backwards. And it's heavy. It's underway. They're trying to hold it. It looks like it's already to the outside of the stone. It is just going to tap the yellow. And the yellow is just going to go out the back. He's going to lose the shooter, but he successfully completes the takeout. I misread the handle there. That's why the ice was didn't seem right to me, was because he was not throwing the shot I thought he was throwing. Meanwhile, over on sheet A, John Carelli gets a redirect off of a couple of his guards and gets a stone right into the 8-foot. He just needed to get something working into the house, and he did so. The question is, how much of that stone can you see? And I'm right behind sheet A at the moment, and you can see all of it. It's a narrow port, though. If you're a little bit wide or a little bit narrow, you are going to have difficulty getting to that stone because of the guards. So for Jack Miller, he needs to hit this one dead on if he wants to get rid of that stone. Meanwhile, back over here on sheet C, Jay Flanders getting ready to deliver his hammer. We'll stay with the 3-sheet view because these are 2 very crucial shots, and both skips are walking into the hack right now. Jay is going to try and draw in, I believe, to outcount, because there really isn't another option here. If comes in the other side, he probably won't outcount him, but he needs to be a touch of the button, really. So Jack is just getting to the hack right now. So let's cube zoom over there so you can see Jay's shot. And we'll cut back to the 3 screen so you can see the result of Jack Miller. He's just stepping into the hack. Their sweepers are trying to stay on it. They need to get this to the button for it to outcount. It's going to outcount that 1 red, but it's only going to cut him to 1 red. So that'll be 1 red, and Giuseppe will steal 1 to take a 3-2 lead after 5. Jack Miller releases his stone. He is going after that red stone in the house. It's doable, but it's a tight fit. Let's see if he can get through there. And, oh, wow. So Jack curls a little more than he expected, redirects off of the red guard, redirects again off the yellow guard, and completes the shot. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say Jack Miller has never drawn that shot up that way in his entire life. He thought he was getting straight through that hole. There, fist pumps on the other end of the ice. They're all excited about it. Sometimes the best plans are the ones you didn't see right away. But he completes the shot, and that's what he was trying to do. It's just funny the way it worked out. The physics of curling, folks. The physics of curling. So we are now down to the hammer for John Carelli over on sheet A. He has no choice but to get that yellow out and stick and take his one red. They're joking about it down this end of the ice. He's talking to his sweepers. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess and say, hey, sometimes the shots just work out. We'll see what he does here. The sixth end is underway over here on sheet C in a 3-2 game. So far, there's just the first stone is in the house, touching the 4-foot. Yellow's first stone is trying to come down as well, but I think it's a little wider. It might just need to slow down a little bit. Slowing down, this might stick around. Carelli's stone is underway. On sheet C, the yellow will stick around. Let's keep it on this view, though, because you're going to see John Carelli's shot come into view any moment. Can he get that yellow out and stick around? There goes the yellow. And he sticks around to take one. At least it looks like one from my perspective. Vices are having a good long look just to be safe. Are we looking at a measure here, or are we happy? They are talking about it. The Vices are having to. Jack Miller is talking with his Vice. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the hammer. Jeez, I thought for sure that was the hammer. It is not. So that must have been first stone for John Carelli. Oh, yes, okay. My apologies, folks. I thought that was Carelli's hammer. It was not. It was Carelli's first stone. So Jack has one more shot. And then Carelli has one more shot. So they're going to discuss what they need to do over there. In the meantime, let me show you what's going on down here closer to me on sheet C. This is the start of the sixth end. You see we got a couple of stones in play. Yellow knocks the red over a little bit. And at the moment, it looks like it's a count of one red. That second red, I don't think, is out counting that other yellow. Giuseppe's just going to draw or try to guard here. Shots underway from the second. Coming towards us. It might be on the guard. 1, 2, 3, 4 stones in play. This is the fifth stone at the end. That guard cannot be removed. But it's going to curl past the guard. Okay. It's going to be a guard in its own right. For a moment there, I thought we'd have a new free guard rule violation. The first one I would have seen. In my experience, at this level of curling, you don't see a lot of free guard violations with the 4-rock rule. So I don't expect to see a lot with the 5-rock rule either. We'll bring you back to the 3-wide view so that you can see the final stone from Jack Miller coming in. And unfortunately, he is going to impact the guard and create a pathway into the house for Carelli's hammer. Now, this one I am sure is the hammer. This is definitely Carelli's hammer coming up right now. I'm moving down to the other end of the ice so that I can check out and see what this count situation is. Get out of the way, John. Standing over the stone I'm trying to look at. Wow, that is close. I honestly can't make a call here. I would, if I had to, I'd say it was one yellow, but it's possible that Carelli is the counting stone with one red. Why is... Okay. Craig Steffen believes that there is a measure imminent, so he has brought out the measuring tool and is chilling it behind sheet B. He believes this is going to be a measure. That says to me the conversations they've had so far, they can't agree on what's going on. Just unusual to see the measuring device hit the ice while a shot is still to be thrown. So I'm not quite sure what he's thinking of doing here. Is there a possibility he could split off that guard? No, he's going to draw. Yeah, he's going to draw. Anything that's in the solid 12-foot is going to be the one stone, so he doesn't need to have something that's something that's way out there in terms of a shot call. Meanwhile, sheet C is evolving nicely. It looks like the count is still 1 red. We are up to Vice Rocks, and I will take you back to that view as soon as I humanly can. I really want to see how this works out with the Carelli draw. Sure, you guys do too. We spent a lot of time on sheet C, so we want to spend a little bit of time looking at sheet A over here. A lot of stones in play over on C, both in the house and in guard range. Pam's shot as the red Vice comes right down to a yellow, but bumps the red back. But I believe that makes it actually a 2 count for red at the moment. Carelli is in the hack. He is taking his time because this is a very important shot. He is advising his sweepers that there's a possibility if this curls too much, he could split with his guard and to watch for that, because if he splits the guard and they both roll into solid 12, they would both be counters. And then he'd be looking at a measure for 3. Not a bad outcome right now for him. Shot is underway. Sweepers are on it. Should be coming into view any moment. It is going to get off that red guard. The question is, are they both going to end up in play as a result? No. Only the red gets promoted in, and now it is almost right next to the yellow. It looks like we're going to have a 3-stone measure to see who won this end. Wow, all right. So we were going to come back to that because they're going to have to measure that and find out what's going on. In the meantime, let's go back to sheet C because they're actually making fantastic time, and they're almost done with their 6th end. And this is what we're looking at. So Pam is throwing what looks like heavy draw weight. I'm not quite sure what the call here was, but it looks like sweepers are on it. It's curling. It's curling. I think they're trying to get down and chip this yellow back. It's slowing down, though. They'll try to get it in as far as they can, and it is not going to add to the count. So the count is still 2 red over here. The measure is in progress over on sheet A. We'll wait for the scoring over there to figure out what's going on. In the meantime, over here on sheet C, we're up to Vice Rocks. I believe this is the first Vice Rock for Matt on Team Flanders. And they're having some discussion. Can he see that rock that's sitting in the 4-foot? And it looks like they're going to call a takeout on it. I mean, if they wreck, so to speak, off of that guy in the 12-foot, that's not bad either, because that would open up a path. So basically, you want to move some red granite no matter how you're doing this. Matt comes out. I think it's a little bit further out than he wanted, but here comes the curl. This might actually give him an interesting opportunity for a hit and roll. Gets the one. He just skinnies by the other red stone. Wow, that would have been fantastic had the angle worked out. He could have had a double there. But he does successfully eliminate the stone that Pam put out there. So even though that stone didn't travel all the way down into the 8-foot like they had originally called it, it turns out to be an extremely useful shot and prevents them from getting into the 4-foot. I believe Giuseppe is going to try and do the push back again. If he can get up against his own red there in the 8-foot and just push that yellow back and through the back of the house, they'd be sitting pretty, and they'd have probably 4 stones counting in play. So the score has been posted over on sheet A. Carelli successfully takes 2 with that final shot. So congratulations to Team Carelli. They have cut the lead to 7-3, and with 3 ends to play, they are a steal away from being right in the thick of this. And now would be the time to do it. If they could steal the 6th and then give up 1 in the 7th, whatever they should steal, they'd be coming home with the hammer in the 8th, and that would be a fantastic finish. Over here on sheet A, boom. That is exactly what Giuseppe Russo wanted to do. He is sitting 4. And Flanders is going to say, you know what? I can hit and roll off of this and get to the button that way. So a nice shot by Giuseppe Russo, but Flanders has this option. This is not a super easy shot, but neither was the one that Giuseppe just hit. This has been a great game over here on Sheet C. Sheet A has been, unfortunately, pretty one-sided score-wise, not in shot-wise. Both teams have made some fantastic shots. You gotta feel bad for Carelli and a couple of bad bounces he's had that have really influenced the score of that game, because they have curled significantly better than if you were just looking at the scoreboard, which you would think. Near house view, you can see A is just getting underway. They're on the left-hand side of your screen. Over here, sheet C. We're going to focus in on C because this is an amazingly interesting shot. Flanders is going to try and hit that red stone just next to the broom on the bottom side from your perspective, which would be the left side of the stone, and then redirect right onto our nutmeg logo button. Stone is away. Got to curl. It looks a little wider than they wanted to. It's hard for me to see because Matt is getting so down there, but the stone is curling. The stone is curling. Is it going to get to the inside of that red? And it is not. So all it does is end up pushing the red straight back, but it does take that stone in the back 12 out of count right now, reduces the count to 3 red. And now Giuseppe has to throw his last stone. He does not have hammer here. So Flanders will have another shot at it, or whatever he chooses to do. Let's go to the open near house view so you can see what's going on over here on sheet A as well. Got a couple stones in the house, and looks like Jack is going to take a shot at that red stone. They're right next to each other, so this is a challenging shot in that you could really do some damage to your own stone too. But he recognizes Carelli is probably trying to set up a steal here, and he successfully removes the red without damaging his yellow. So Flanders is now in the hack for his hammer. So let's go back to C for a second. I don't know what they're warming up in the warm room, but it smells fantastic. That must be leftover barbecue. Marianne, what is that fantastic smell I smell? Is that leftover barbecue? Is that already warming? Is that what smells so good? Okay, folks, if you're within range of my voice in Bridgeport, Connecticut, please come down to Nutmeg Curling Club. We have a ton of barbecue from last night's fantastic barbecue. Oh, shot's underway. Stop talking about food, Britt. And I'm sorry, this is not the hammer. This is Giuseppe's last shot, and he parks in front of that yellow, and I don't know which one is closer, but they're trying to figure out how they're going to get in there for 1 now. Let me show you what's going over on near right. So we had, again, thanks to Mike and Lee for the fantastic job they did with the barbecue this weekend. I can smell it warming up in the warm room right now, and it is literally making me drool. I unfortunately had to work last night, so I was not able to be here for the barbecue the first time around, so I am very excited for leftover barbecue today. So this is the view on sheet A right now. They're still early on the end. We're showing you this because the Flanders rink is having a long discussion as to how they're going to get in there and not let Giuseppe steal some points here. They're talking about the hit and roll again, but I don't know that the angle is there because of the way those stones have stacked up, so it's challenging. Patrick Stone is underway. 2, 3, 4. He's going to hit that guard, but was that 1, 2, 3, 4? No, that was the 6th stone of the end. Okay, so that's a legal hit. Still getting used to that, folks. Yeah, that was a 6th stone. So it looks like Jack is going to try and take red stones out of play just to limit what Carelli can steal. If Carelli is going to steal against him, he's going to try and make sure he can't steal more than 1 or 2. Oh, we are coming down on sheet C. Flanders stone is underway. It is heavy, so I think they are playing some sort of hit. Let's see. Here comes into view. He is going to hit that red. He's going to roll over, and he is going to cut the count to 1. So while he is not able to take the 1 there, he is able to make sure that Giuseppe doesn't take more than 1, and that's a fantastic shot. He limits the steal in the 6th end. That makes the score 4-2 in favor of the Matt Bertonica rink led by Giuseppe Russo today. And so now the hammer will be retained by yellow, and they're only trailing by 2. So that was a really clutch shot. Let's go to near A for a sec. So here back to the situation. We just saw Jack Miller take out a red stone. Red stone was put back in play, and now Jack is going to go after that red stone again. About 10:30 here over at Nutmeg Curling Club. We want to thank you for joining us this morning. A reminder that we will have the other finals coming up at noon. Here comes the shot from yellow. It impacts the guard. It skinnies by the guy in the 12-foot, and the takeout does not succeed. Now that gives Carelli an option. So what does Carelli do here? Let's see what he wants to do. There's some logic to guarding, but there's also some logic to splitting the house here. You are the judge. What would you do? Carelli's going to guard. Okay. I kind of like that. With a more crowded guard zone, I would probably try to split the house. I would try to get something under a little bit more cover. But with only 1 guard out in front of the house, I kind of like putting up a 2nd guard to prevent him from taking out. Because Jack's made it clear, at least I feel he's made it clear, he is going to be trying to do takeouts to limit the number of red stones that are available. Here comes the stone into view. Oh, right in between the 2 stones. And unfortunately not going to stick around. So meanwhile, sheet C has the 7th end underway. They are playing at a healthy clip. They must smell the barbecue too. I am going to go poke over there while we have ends both developing over here and see what does actually smell so good over here. I see soup, sausage and peppers. Rick Moore's birthday today. Happy birthday to Rick Moore.
Yeah, happy birthday, Rick.
The exceptionally average mac and cheese of Eric Sebastian is still here. I'm not surprised nobody ate that. The exceptionally average mac and cheese of Eric Sebastian. He was bragging about his mac and cheese. I told him I'll make a mean mac and cheese too, and now the challenge is down. The gauntlet is thrown. The Bisson Sebastian mac and cheese sandwich. Oh, I would hear speak of the devil and he shall walk through the door. I was just mentioning how I wasn't surprised your mac and cheese was left over, seeing as it's exceptionally average. Would you care to comment? Oh, he says nothing. I'm setting up the mac and cheese challenge for a later event. I would love to do that with Eric. Eric, I hear, makes a mean mac and cheese. I have actually. I've done that once. We'll talk about that later. That's just funny timing. I just made a joke about Eric's mac and cheese because we talked about mac and cheese all weekend, and he walks through the door. So apologize. Back to the curling. Got distracted for a moment by the mac and cheese. We're still looking over at sheet A. Let me show you what's going on far C. Again, early on in the end, we're still on second rocks. Giuseppe up by 2 with the red. He's done a pretty good job of clouding up the front of the house today. That's made it difficult for the yellow Flanders ring to get in there and really do what they wanted to do. Meanwhile, we're still trading stones over here on